In Surah Al-Kahf, Allah Ta'ala mentions in a number of different places in the Quran about the Qiyamah in of itself. Different words have been given for Yawm Al-Qiyamah as well. In one scenario, in one case, Surah Al-Ghafir, Allah says, يَوْمَ تُوَلُّونَ مُدْبِرِينَ يَوْمَ تُوَلُّونَ مُدْبِرِينَ. The day when the people will be, when it will turn back upon you. مَا لَكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ عَاصِمٍ, that you will not have any protector. وَمَنْ يُضْلِلِ اللَّهِ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ هَادٍ. The one who is misguided, Allah won't guide that individual. But these things, subhanAllah, you should remember. The day of judgment is to come. Al-Haqqa, Mal-Haqqa, wa ma adrakum al-Haqqa. You know these ayat. So read these surahs. Surah Al-Ma'arij, Sa'ala sa'ilun bi'adhabin waqi'. A questioner asked about the punishment. لِلْكَافِرِينَ لَيْسَ لَهُ دَافِعٌ. For the disbelievers, they will have no protector, no one to help them. So, Yawm al-Qiyamah, a person needs to remember. And sometimes we get so busy, we get so into our dunya so badly, we forget that really we're supposed to be leaving. Just like you get so busy, you have a train ticket or you have a flight to catch, you become so busy and honoring a guest or something, or become so into it, you forgot that you've got to catch a flight, and you realize, oh gosh, what am I doing? That's our state now. We've forgotten that we have to catch that flight to Al-Qiyamah. In other words, if you know what I mean. We've got to die. We're going to leave this world. So let it not affect you. Let the dunya not get to you. The dunya gets to us so easily. In so many forms. So as a reminder, inshaAllah ta'ala, remind yourself of Al-Qiyamah and teach your children of the Day of Judgment. And teach your children that we are here to leave. Sometimes you ask children, average Muslims, and we've done tests here and there, what are the 3 questions of the grave? They answer, what? You're going to be questioning the grave? That's what they say. Likewise, the qabr, the graveyard, the life of al-barzakh. Read about it. Imam Al-Qurtubi is a great Imam. He wrote a book which is a tadhkirah, and he talks about all the stages from death to the Day of Judgment. He speaks about every single stage, and he brings all the ahadith. Some ahadith are questionable, but generally speaking, he tries to bring ahadith and athar and aqwal of the salaf. And that book has been translated in English, a masterpiece, which is amazing, because translating that in English was a hard work. May Allah reward the brothers behind it. But that kitab speaks about the death and all the stages. And wallahi, when you read that book, you feel it coming, and you feel you want to prepare more. And as Ramadan, insha'Allah ta'ala, is at our doorstep, bi'idhnillah al-azim, may Allah grant it to us with khair and ease, ameen. Preparing for Ramadan would be also preparing for death. We ask Allah, He grants us a beautiful death, and He makes it easy upon us. And for the Muslims who are suffering, and for the Muslims who have passed away, Allah forgive them, have mercy upon them. Rahimahumullah al-jamii'. Shukran wa jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum. Seriously, man, what on earth has happened to you?
What do you mean?
You lost weight. Your bones are coming out. Look at come. Doctor now, mashallah. What happened to you? It's the one child. What are you going to do here for, inshallah? Me, I'll go with the flow, akhi. Take the in-laws. Let the kids stay there for 6 weeks. But that's a problem, man. Huh? Inshallah, yeah, why not? Yeah, let me know. Akhi, even if I've got things going on, my evenings are always free for you, inshallah. You gave me a couple, that's enough. How you doing though? You okay? How's a little one, mashallah? Getting fat, yeah? That's important. Keep it going, keep it like, you know, mix it up a bit. At the end, what's going to happen with that? Yeah, the problem with that is that it's just going to become formula then. Problem. SubhanAllah, some I think some women from the Africans, yeah, they do full 2 years, bro. They're strong, man. They're strong. You know, it's our food, it's our eat here. Even the organic thing, they chemicalize it and all that. You know, it's not. But I'm saying generally that everyone in this country, like, usually is like that. We're here, you know, 2 months, 3 months. Okay, when my wife was, in labour, and I went in August. There was a lady next door, yeah, in her cubicle. She said, "I'm not giving my child at all from the beginning." Putting on weight, yeah. So we had to go back in. Yeah, we had that as well. They cut it. No, but like it's the weight in it. If the weight is good, it's important. Yeah, something like that. I forgot what they're saying. I don't want to be a pediatric doctor. Cardiac, straight up, bro. No, what? Murad. It was there, but some brothers, Nigeria, some brother. Chalo, khalas, let's start, inshallah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
This one, Sheikh.
Is it that one?
Yeah.
Let me get the wireless extend it.
Can we just switch it on as well, please? Barakallahu feekum. يلا بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. تفضل يا مشايخ. بسم الله. عليكم. نعم تفضل. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. This is the same thing we've mentioned already, a number of ahadith in Bulugh al-Maram. There is many ahadith that he's going to mention under the subheading of ghish, of cheating. And many of them, we spoke about muhafala and the hadith of al-musarrat, and we spoke about the aspect of qiyas and how that can't be taken when you have a text of a hadith. Anyway, we also have the hadith of an-najish or tanajush, which is to increase the bidding price without the intention of buying it, rather to just raise it to make it a darar, a difficulty upon the person who's also in the sale like yourself. So this is not permissible. So like this hadith here is also another among them under the same chapter of ghish. But ghish, cheating, there are so many ahadith, and sometimes we want to take a benefit from it. Not just, oh, it's cheating so it's not allowed, it's cheating. They all come under that, of course. But what are the fawaid al-jadida al-mustakhraja min al-ahadith al-mukhtalafa or al-mukhtalifa? What are the benefits that we can extract from the different ahadith that we find around the chapter of cheating? Even though this is similar to musarrat, but this is not the same one. So here anyway, it's very, very clear. Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ, to not aid in sin and aggression. This is very important. So often a lot of people ask this question and they say, is it permissible to sell something and I know the person will buy this for the purpose of something which is not allowed in Islam? And so this is the same rule that we apply. Anyway, these masail al-fiqhiyya, al-mu'asara and so on and so forth have to be looked into in detail. Every mas'ala has to be looked into separately. But general qa'idah, the general rule is that no, we can't make any ta'awun with any haram. So people often ask, I'm working in this company, there's a lot of haram involvement, and it's quite explicit and clear, but I'm not helping them in this department. So this is another scenario and question that people often ask. And every question needs to be put to the scholars, the muftun, separately. The mashayikh, the ulama have to look at everything. This is why I don't like to kind of give, this is not allowed, this very dangerous. Sometimes fatwa is not easy. It's not easy. This is why, isn't it, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum would stay away from giving fatwa. They'll ask someone else. Speak to fulan or fulan or fulan or fulan. And these are Sahaba, they were around the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they were around the Prophet ﷺ, and they're the best. They have the more knowledge than any of us together, put together. So therefore, very important to understand that we must be careful. So this mas'ala, man habas al-inab, so the one who is, يعني holding the grapes, yeah, not selling them as grapes, yeah, until they become, what's the word I'm looking for? How's the translation, Akhi Abdul Malik? In the? Yeah. Until? So the asl is, whether the grapes are fine or not. This is the shahid, the lesson. But someone is coming to buy grapes for, this for yaqeenan, certainty. Someone is coming to buy these grapes in order for alcohol, to press wine, to make it into wine. For it is not permissible to sell it. And then further on, this goes into the hadith called حتى يبيع ممن يتخذ خمرا فقد تقحم النار على بصيرة. فهذه كلمة is very important. تقحم أو تقحم رمى بنفسه في النار على علم بالسبب الموجب لدخوله. He has thrown himself in the fire because he has the knowledge that this is the means. And I've integrated myself, or I have aided myself in this. So when they ask this question, it's ajib actually. When people say, "At-ta'awun al-ithm, Shaykh," I know it's not allowed, but is this a sabab? Is this a means of something that is haram? Is it a means? Without this, they can't do that? Yeah, they can't. This, I am helping in the means. Subhanallah. Just by saying, I'm going to sell alcohol, take a bottle of alcohol and sell it to you. There's so many asbab, means to go, yeah. Well, the hadith in Al-Tirmidhi, which is sahih, and other books of hadith, where the Prophet ﷺ, kama qal, said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cursed the 10 people, or the 10. Among them is the one who presses the wine. Among them who's the one who puts a price on the wine. Among them is the one who sells it. Among them is the one who serves it. Among them is the one who pours it. هكذا يعني. Memorize that hadith and find it, bring it to me next week inshallah. Yeah, remind me please. Look at this, very important to understand. So this is not just saying الشيء المباشر ولكن مع الأسباب كذلك لأنه سبب الدخول في النار, because this is among the means of entering into fire. So this is very, very dangerous. So this hadith touches upon the sabab, and he mentions it here as well. The meaning of تقحم النار على بصيرة لأنه قد عرف ذلك. He knew that this is a means, and he's selling it. Chalo, I'm just selling it. I just want to sell the item. I'm not selling wine. They may use it for. No, don't start maying it. Don't giving this, because really you know what they're using it for. And someone comes to the shop and takes grapes, he takes this for without the reason, and khalas. And some, mashallah, people who sell in the marketplace, they fear Allah. We've seen this. Some of them fear Allah. Khalas, I know not to sell it. No, I'm not selling these grapes. They're gone off or something. And they try to make excuses or something in order not to sell it. Even being in a Darul Kufr here is more difficult than being in a Darul Muslim, where you can say to the people, obviously if someone is pressing, well, you can, it's more easier, especially in a land where they've established a Sharia. So these things are known. You know what I'm trying to say? This is very important. So we ask Allah to protect us. Ameen. Now, next hadith. وعن عائشة رضي الله عنها. نعم تفضل. وابن خزيمة. Finish the sanad. وابن خزيمة, please. جزاك الله خير. ابن القطان, جزاك الله خير. Al-Muhim, there is another pathway to this hadith. So this hadith is famously known and it's authentic. And Shaykh Al-Bani rahimahullah hassanahu. Usually Shaykh Al-Bani rahimahullah, when he says the hadith is hasan, معنى هناك مجيء آخر, that there is another pathway. And that's the meaning of the hadith being hasan لغيره. Okay, so this hadith is sahih, it's authentic, but it's hasan, the degree al-hasan. Okay. No. No. نعم. تفضل. The simplest way to say it is there is another pathway. هناك طريق آخر. There is another pathway that this hadith has become strong. فضعف. Firstly, let's start with this. Imam al-Bukhari ضعفه. He has weakened this hadith. Hadith being weak by anybody doesn't necessarily mean it's weak in totality yet, until we look at all the pathways. The first stage is to do jam'u turuq al-hadith, is to always look at all the pathways of the hadith. The second thing is, Abu Dawud also said this is weak, but At-Tirmidhi says it's sahih. So now you can see, either Imam At-Tirmidhi finds another pathway, or either his grading on the narrator is authentic and Al-Bukhari has said otherwise. Yeah, so this is a khilaf between the ulama of hadith regarding al-jarh wa ta'deel, regarding the narrator. So for me and you, we hold back, we just say khalas, there's ikhtilaf, let's stay away. But Shaykh Al-Bani, who's our Shaykh, mashallah, in these times, when I say generally speaking, so we say he has said it's hasan. And when he says this, without me going into the reasoning, I know he's always, especially Al-Irwa al-Ghalil, he mentions it in there, he's always going to bring another pathway. And that's the uniqueness. If someone has to ever ask me and say to me, what's the uniqueness of Shaykh Al-Bani? Jam'u turuq. يأتي بطريق فإما يصحح أو إما يحسن الحديث. He will either authenticate the hadith, say it's sahih, or say it's hasan. It's subhanAllah amazing. And we went through al-Ghalil, some of that hadith, remember? And we spoke about the nitty details of the reason of how Shaykh Al-Bani did it. So that's mashallah amazing. So I can say that's what it is. But to go into more detail at another time, inshallah. But this hadith is hasan and it's an accepted hadith. And anyway, it's a famous hadith and it's a principle in usul al-fiqh. Al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyah. The scholars, they use this as a principle. As a qa'idah rather, but anyway, you know what I mean. Over here, I'm going to really simplify the matter for you. Very simple, because I don't want to make it difficult. Mondays is a tough day, Tuesdays is easygoing, yeah? طيب, al-kharaju bid-daman over here is just saying, okay, I bought a car from you, from anyone. I bought a car. I used it for some taxi, and I got some Uber, for an example. I got some good money out of it. I realized there's a big defect in the car. Something's seriously wrong. So I went to the person. I said to him, look, you've sold me something that's wrong. You sold me something that's wrong. Yeah? Now, the money that I have earned from that taxi, I've used it, I've earned maybe £200, £300, yeah? I can really use that, isn't it, for fixing the car now, yeah? But it's my money now. But as I've come back and I've given it back, al-kharaj bid-daman. Daman, yani the person who, I went to the person and I've come to you and I've said to you, look, take this car, because you sold it to me wrong. This is wrong what you've done. You take it, and that money, I keep it. It's mine. You with me? Because it was within my property. Yeah. Al-Musarrat, Hadith al-Musarrat, yeah. Yeah. Which is easier. Anyway, over here, this hadith speaks about something else. And this is the mas'ala of al-jam'u bayn al-hadith. So remember the Imam, who was that sheikh, that kitab I told you about, the book I told you? And I'm sure you guys memorized it by now, mashallah, the whole book maybe, if you can remember the name. About how you put two ahadith together. There's no contradiction in Islam. There's no contradiction in ahadith. There was one book, Imam al-Tahawi, his name is. It's called Mushkil al-Athar. Mushkil al-Athar. This book is an amazing piece. I think that's more the meanings or something else. But this one is, subhanAllah, the Mushkil al-Athar, yani Allahu Akbar, yani he puts two ahadith and he says, how do you reconcile? Is a good word, reconcile. There's no, and he brings out so many lessons, and they're so different, subhanAllah, both hadith are like, this is applied, or sometimes in some cases this is abrogated. Okay. Here, al-Kharaj bid-Daman, here we're saying, فهناك الغلة إذن تكون له في مقابل الغرم والخراج مستحق بالضمان أي بسببه. I wish you understood this, man. It's now translating this is like so difficult. Basically, in a nutshell, the difference between this and al-Musarrat, you know al-Musarrat, do you understand this firstly or not? See, this is the thing, this is the problem. If we don't get there, how are we going to get to the bottom line? The hadith that we spoke about yesterday, which was one? It's so much milk in there. Yeah, they have to give a sa' of tamar. This is the shahid. And we said it's clear hadith, and the Prophet ﷺ has ordered this. What's the difference here? It's not an animal, yeah? So then you're saying that is khas and this is am. Yeah, you're saying that is specific and this is general. So you've now established an usul al-fiqh قاعدة here. Al-am wal-khas. And that's one opinion, by the way. Some scholars, they said that's an opinion. What else? Very simple, very simple. This is so simple. It's simpler. You don't need to go into the usul. This is very, very simple. The difference between the two, Sheikh, this is your question. It's okay. You know, you were almost there. I thought you had it very nicely. I thought you looked at my notes and you cheated. Yeah. So, in the Hadith al-Mustarrat, what's the wording? Roughly? Yeah? Yes? If you want to return it, you return it with 1 sa' of tamar. Did the Prophet ﷺ say anything here in this hadith? So here you are. But daiman, always, we go back to the hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ, what he said. هكذا منهج أهل الحديث, the tariq of Ahlul Hadith and Sunnah, يعني, shall we say, it's always go back with قول النبي رحمة صلى الله عليه وسلم وما قال. أما القياس هنا وهنا, when you have a nas, it's not allowed. We said القياس, what's the قاعدة? لا قياس في مقابلة النص. There's no analogy to be made when you have a text in front of you. I remember I told you this yesterday, guys, and testing you again. But al-kharaj bil-daman is very, very simple. It's like, you've used this item, and this actually happened, a qissa behind this hadith. I told you another book. There's one book which talks about every hadith and the story behind it. Asbabul Wurud. There are some ahadith which are weak in there, which becomes a bit, I don't like to read it too much. But the ahadith that are sahih, mashallah, it's very nice because it talks about how the hadith came by. Another, like Asbabu al-Nuzul, like in Quran. Asbabu al-Nuzul, how the ayat have been revealed. What's the reason? There's a reason behind this, yeah? So anyway, so over there, it mentions that there were two people. One of them, so he bought this young boy from somebody, like a slave at that time. But there was a defect in this guy. Maybe he has a body defect or something. He's not able to work properly. But he earned some money from him. So when he came back to this to the owner, he goes, "Look, you sold me someone who's such and such." So the person says, "No, I'm not gonna take him back." So the Prophet ﷺ here, he said, "Al-kharaj bil-daman." He has to return him back. And whatever he's earned from this slave, he gets to keep it. Al-kharaj bil-daman. Amma al-hadith musarrat, this is different. Why? Ibn Hajar, I found one answer. I found one very nice answer. Subhanallah azim. It's just here. But when I open WhatsApp, all this, subhanallah azim, 1 second. That becomes a problem. I found an amazing answer. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah spoke about this issue as well. وقد أجاب الحافظ ابن حجر رحمه الله بجواب لطيف أقرب مما سبق. This is more, okay, anyway, they're speaking about something else, so let's just talk about this. Here you go. إن المشتري لم يؤمر بغرامة ما حدث في ملكه بل بغرامة اللبن الذي ورد عليه العقد ولم يدخل في العقد فليس بين الحديثين على هذا تعارض. 1 second here please. ومفاد كلام ابن حجر أن اللبن المصرات كان موجودا قبل العقد فليس من غلتها بل هو جزء منها كأحد أعضائها فكان ملكا للمشتري فلزم رد العوض عنه. وأما الخراج الذي يكون مقابل الضمان فهو الذي حدث في يد المشتري قبل الرد وعليه فلا تعارض بين حديثه. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah says basically there's no clashes. There's no clashes over here in these two ahadith. I'm going to simplify it. One of them is a defect, one of them is a fraud. Understand the differences between the two words. One of them where Ibn Hajar, so he says that the buyer was not ordered, to pay back at that time. For an example, where the laban, the milk, is part of the camel. It's not a defect. This is a fraud, a type of fraud system. Whereas you have, and then you realize, he's lied, ghish, he's cheated. Even the other one, linguistically we say is cheated, but we call this ghulla. In Arabic there's a different word. Ghulla here is where the person, firstly, the laban the Prophet ﷺ said, because now you've used this laban, you've used this body of the camel, you've used part of it, you've used the milk, it's used, right? So to compensate, and what did we say yesterday? A big word we said. This hadith was not just compensation 50-50, but it was more qat'ul. Yeah, qat'ul khusumat, to stop fighting. It was for that specific purpose. So you see the way the scholars, they answer when it comes to a hadith. They don't just say, yeah, they look like the same and that's it, khalas. The aql, they use their mind. Us, we, subhanAllah, our fiqh is so low. We don't think beyond the box. We never thought about this. Would you ever think like this? One is a fraud, one is a defect. One is a defect within the, and you've sold this knowingly. And then one is, yes, one is also done purposely. They're both done purposely, but it's two different masail. And then the other opinion, as Ajwad said, which is am and khas. قلبي يميل إلى ذلك, my heart goes towards that, because it's quite clear when it comes to ilm usul. So the usuliyun are saying this, and the fuqaha are saying this. There's not much difference between fuqaha and usuliyun, but the usuli is the one who tells the faqih, istanbit al-hukm, take the ruling from this ayah. هو الذي يخبر الفقيه أن يستنبط الحكم. This is the way the scholars, they say. The usul al-fiqh is different to fiqh. Anyway, I'm going too technical, but anyway, I just want you to understand this. This is quite, so it's compulsory upon him to return this to him. So there's no ta'arud between the two ahadith. It's about understanding fraud and defects, understand the differences, and understand one is specific for the animal. This is the easy way to kind of come out the equation. So al-kharaj bil-daman, this is known. This is quite famous. How did I translate that again, please? Very difficult to understand that. It's not, but they should have footnotes. No footnote. Go on. Yeah, this is, so the moment you know the defect, fasakh al-aqd, you want to kind of, fasakh means to stop or cancel the contract. This to the time. I mean, there's some much more masail, some ulama, they go into real detail and they write. As I said, this is a rule in buying and selling. In our fiqh of mu'amalat, this is a rule. Al-kharaju bid-daman. But I mean, I think you've understood. Anyway, there's one point I wanted to mention is al-kharaj, that the one who's benefited from it has the right, has more right over that which he's benefited from. That's the easier way to kind of look at and understand the hadith. Naam, tfaddal, next hadith. وعن عروة البارقي رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أعطاه دينارا ليشتري به أضحية أو شاة فاشترى به شاتين فباع إحداهما بدينار فأتاه بشاة ودينار فدعا له بالبركة في بيعه فكان لو اشترى ترابا لربح فيه. رواه الخمسة إلا النسائي وقد أخرجه البخاري في ضمن حديث ولم يسق لفظه وأورد الترمذي له شاهدا من حديث حكيم بن حزام. صلى الله عليه وسلم. MashaAllah. So this is this is good. Allahumma barik. If I give you £1, oh, okay, let's give this example. It's better. Dinar and 1 dinar to buy. The Prophet ﷺ gave him one dinar to buy just one sheep, but he ended up buying 2. Maybe he hustled and bustled, Allah Alam. He bargained or he found a way and he bought 2. Alhamdulillah, 1 belongs to the Prophet ﷺ and 1 is his extra. But he bought it from the wealth of the Prophet ﷺ that he gave him. So he sold one of them for 2 dinars. فَبَاعَ sold إِحْدَاهُمَا بِدِينار. So he came with now how much? 1 goat and a dinar. But the Prophet ﷺ دعا له ببركة. Allah, the Prophet made dua for him. Blessings, yani Allah put barakah in what you've done, in your business, in your mal, to the extent that if he was to buy dust, Aslan, you can't buy dust, huh? You can't buy turab. Today now, there's another mas'ala we can go into, but turaban la rabiha fi. This is a meaning that if you had to buy dust, something so small, it would have been doubled and doubled and doubled. Subhanallah, hakada. For here, what are we learning from this hadith, by the way? What do we learn from it? What lessons do we take from this? What lessons do you extract from it? I have a few in my mind, without looking what's written here. No. Perhaps, and I think that, but I don't think that's the lesson that we can maybe derive from this explicitly. It's a good one, yes? Anything else? Yeah. Okay, there's that one as well, mashallah. Now from a fiqh perspective, that's all tarbiyah perspective, fiqh. From a fiqh perspective, there's one mas'ala over here, which is very important to know. The permissibility of, okay, there's that, yeah, that's easy. But the permissibility of tawkil, of appointing someone to buy me something, this is allowed. Okay? Some people think, by the way, it's not allowed. So you have to buy it. You have to. But nowadays, everyone who's selling on the shops and everything. How can this transaction be? And how can it be permissible if it wasn't? But generally speaking, even where we live in now, in this country, for an example, loads of the transactions that take place between the non-Muslim, generally speaking, is halal. Generally, of course, there's so many that are not permissible. But generally speaking, buying and selling is عوض بالمال, مبادلة. It's exchange, khiyar, it's qabth, it's to take, receive and give. So this is the very generic, and this is where Allah says, وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ. Allah has made buying and selling halal. وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَى, made riba haram. Yes? Now? Urwa al-Bariqi radiyallahu anhu wa arda. This Sahabi, his name is Urwa. أي نعم هو أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أعطاه. Urwa has said this, that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم gave him dinar, so he bought. فلا أدري, I don't know, is this mudraj min kalam, from this is from the kalam of the Sahabi, or is it the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying this? إسناده كذا وإسناد منظم وهو سعيد بن درهم محرت الحديث الشاهد عند الترمذي وأما الشاهد من حديث أحمد. نعم. I don't know if this is kalam of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly or it is kalam of the Sahabi mudraj, we call this mudraj min kalam Sahabi. لكن هو حديث, the hadith is authentic. Shaykh Al-Bani says Sahih, it's in Nasai, Ahmad ibn Majah, Tirmidhi, Abi Dawood. It's a famous hadith. In fact, Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala in his A'lam Muwaqqi'een spoke about this as well on this mas'ala. And that's another kitab, that's very nice. But أخرج البخاري في ضمن حديث ولم يسق لفظه. Anyway, yes, so this is the reality. But the condition is to seek the permission from the owner to spend on this or do such and such, to qatl khusumat, so there's no quarrels, so and so. But the Prophet ﷺ made dua for him and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put barakah in his bay'ah. فكان لو اشترى ترابا لربح فيه. فهذا from the zahir, this is not from the kalam of the Prophet ﷺ. From the apparent, this does not seem like this is the kalam of the Prophet ﷺ. But again, I will check this when I go home, inshallah ta'ala. Another thing is the barakah of the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. The barakah of the Prophet ﷺ, the dua, of course, no doubt. Allahumma barik lahu fi rizqihi wa fi the dua for Ibn Abbas, the dua for Abu Hurairah, the dua for the Sahaba, generally speaking, the dua for Umar radiallahu an, or Abu Jahl, but here Umar radiallahu an was the one who embraced Islam. For this dua of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لا شك يوم القيامة أمتي أمتي هكذا يعني. فصلى الله عليه وسلم in that regard. Now, لا أعرف, I don't know, maybe he may have, I don't know of anything, subhanallah. But لا شك, yeah. But of course, business again, mal, there was one benefit over here. He said, the Sheikh mentioned something, I'd like to quickly mention that. Regarding the dunya, he says, okay, there's another thing. When you are purchasing this sheep, we have to be careful because you have to specify this sheep is for udhiyah. For an example, because it mentions here udhiyah, udhiyatan aw shatan. So if it's specific to make the sacrifice, choosing is okay, but we're talking about now you've chosen this in order for this specific sheep to be sacrificed for the sake of Allah. So in this scenario, you can't sell this one and swap it over with another one. I'm just trying to make a point over here. He says something here. So it's called هذه أضحية وهذه لله لأنها لو تعين بمجرد الشراء لم يجوز بيعها ولا هبتها. It's not permissible to sell this or give it as a gift because this is now specific. So when you're specifying that specific ibadah, so one has to be careful. As for generally, obviously, if it's just you're just purchasing something, later on you will be giving sadaqah. You don't know which one. Mujarrad, your niyyah is not there, and that's another proof of the intentions are just by one's a'mal. Okay, here, being happy in achieving worldly gains, increasing it, doesn't diminish the fact that you are turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so long the dunya is not like your ultimate goal. What you're trying to achieve from this worldly gain, this sheep, you're trying to achieve something, food, maybe udhiyah, maybe something else, rizq, not haram. But there's nothing wrong in saying Alhamdulillah, Allahumma قد أرزقني هذا وكذا رزقني كذا وكذا. Yeah? After we eat food, we say Alhamdulillah الذي أطعمني هذا ورزقني من غير حول من قوة. And you become happy when you eat food because it's something for your body, you need it. You with me? So this is something that's very important to remember, inshallah ta'ala. Now, yes. Yeah, this is udhiyah, this is dhabh, this is sacrifice. You've intended. And then you said, khalas, I'm going to now gift it with a different intention of no longer being udhiyah. Of course, after udhiyah, what do? You give it out to people. This is not gifting ownership to ownership. Milk ila milk. This is sadaqah. This is different. You with me? No. طيب خلاص inshallah, today's lesson is sufficient for today بإذن الله العظيم. Next week inshallah we'll complete this bab, this chapter inshallah, and we'll take it from there. Barakallahu feekum wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. لا تشربوا السمك في الماء now